Good morning. Rambam Hilchis Shiur Avay Satuma Perik Vav Halacha Zayin tells us an interesting halacha, but the most interesting part of this all that's going to spur our conversation is the Kesef Mishnah's understanding of the Rambam. The Rambam writes, "An egeya ba'ov me'avay satuma hamushlach b'tei chamik." Let's say in Nevela, he says, Nevela, Sheretz, Mishkav Shuv Mikvah. A animal dropped dead in the mikvah, whatever, jumped into the mikvah and died. Or was dead, was thrown into the mikvah. And a person touched it, he's tummy. In other words, a person in the mikvah. Shenem, and he learns about Pasuk. Ach, mayin ubar mikvah, mayin ubar mikvah, mayin yiyah tohar. Negeya b'niv losam yid. So we learn out a special halacha. Afilu kishehem b'teich hamikvah metamen. In other words, it would be a swear to say they're in the mikvah. And then the Rambam adds the following line: Ukishayalam in hamikvah hanegeya yiter. When he comes up to out of the mikvah, he'll be tired. Now, listen to the next halacha. Chein zov shedoras al hamishkov shehu munach b'mikvah. A zav who put weight on a mishkav, he stepped on a mishkav, on something that's made to lay on or to sit on, and he stepped on it in the mikvah while he was in the mikvah. Are mishkav tameh, mishkav becomes tameh. Kashiyala mishkav in a mikvah, you try with it. Take it out, and it'll become tameh. Share also like tefillah. The tefillah helps. This was a person who is touching the mishkav while he is in the mikvah. In Pashat Yodai, and he stuck his hand out of the mikvah. When he gave a chutz to the mikvah, and he touched the kelim out of the mikvah. And so and he'll be metama eichlamash. He'll make tame anything he touches that can become tame. Now, the Kesef Mishnah understands this halacha as follows. Brings the makor from Teres Kainim, says it Tesefton Shiur, and he says, "V'nire mitoich devreim." These are powerful words because this you can't imagine the tumult that this creates, this line. Shahatam neishaein hatome nithar ela baliyosem in amikra leba oide b'teicham. The reason that the Tameh is Tahar, he's talking about this halacha, Zav Shadar is al Mishka, and he makes a Tameh, right? So when he goes into the mikvah, when he touches it, in the mikvah, a Mishka is Tameh. And therefore, why does it become Tameh? Because he touched it in the mikvah. Now, the question that arises here, what is he talking about? What's the halacha? What's the case here? What happened? If you say the Zav went into the mikvah, toivled, and then touched the mishkav, that the mishkav was not tameh before. The Zav went into the mikvah and toivled, he's not tameh. So that is what some people understand the Kesef Mishnah coming to explain. That he should have been tired. He doesn't come tired till he goes out of the mikvah, and therefore now he should have been tired. If that's what he's saying, it's a Peladikich. And that's what he wants to mechadesh. And that's what everybody goes. That's the tumult. Okay, we'll see. I'm not sure that's we have to say that, and that's what we will discuss. But let's see what others understand in him and the questions that they ask on this. And they have a number of good questions, very solid questions. Okay, now the Sifra, the Pasha Shmini, which is the Makar, as we said, says when he gave him even though they're in the water when he touches them. Shayisi Oimer, this is going on the first part. Hoyil v'aretz malas atmei mitamasa mikra malas atmei mitamasa. Ma oretz matzelas is a term miltam af mikra yatzelas at the hoyrim militam. Mikvah should save you from becoming tamei. You're in the mikvah, you can't become tamei. You touch a tamei, you can't become tamei. Tamei leim if it gave him das yit mafil leim b'techamai. The Tesefta Machshir that he mentioned, and he gave him an avela b'techamai. Somebody touches an avela while he's in the water. I'm sorry. Tamei, v'tar baliyos. And he gave him mishkav u'moishav. Beis hamikveh, tamei v'tar baliyos. The mishkav will become tamei. He will become tamei. I'm sorry. Zog shedoras al gabe mishkav moishav b'teich hamikveh. Tamei. The mishkav becomes tamei v'tar baliyos. Okay, so this is really the issue. When did he step on it? When is he? What's the case? What is the chidushim going on? So there are various achreinim shuvas. There's a Pri Yitzchok who asks on the Teres Kainim. He says, what do we need this? According to the Kesef Mishnah, what do we need this whole Teres Kainim? If you don't become tahar until you get out of the mikveh, so of course it's tamei. It's in the mikveh, it's going to be tamei. As long as the tamei is in the water, it's going to be tamei. It's going to be tamei of the person. What's the chiddush? What do we need a pasuk? He says it's not mistabara. This is where you learn this whole halacha, because he asks a question. He explains that at length, but not for now. The Dvar Avram brings out an interesting point. It says of this: if you tell me you don't become tar after you go out of the mikveh, so if somebody tables a kli, right? We very often go to be table a kli, and you lift it up, and there's water in there. Right? Remember, some of the water is still in the mikveh, some of the water is out already. When you're lifting it up is upright. So the part that's out is out of the mikveh. Part that's in is not tahar yet, because it doesn't become tahar until you leaves the mikveh. So it should be mitamid. It'll be a perpetual tumah. It'll never end. And doesn't say anywhere that you can't do that. But the ikka question they ask is on the Rambam. According to the Kesef Mishnah, the halacha of the Rambam, that the one who is touching the mishkav, it sounds like what did Rambam say? The one who's touching the mishkav sticks his hand out, then he will become top. Then he will make anything tamei, the eichlin, the begadim. What he needs to be touching anymore? He became tamei. And as long as he didn't put his hand out of the mikveh, as long as he puts his hand out of the mikveh, he didn't come out of the mikveh totally, according to his understanding, then he's still tamei. So why is he still have to be touching the mishkah? He should still be mitamei outside of the mikveh until he comes out when it's also a tefillah. So therefore he says, obviously, when you're in the mikveh, you talk. You don't have to come out. And the only way you can still be tummy in the mikveh, you're still touching the double tummy. Was steht, the Tahara Baliyasai. It doesn't mean that as long as you're in the mikveh, you're still tummy. And you're not touching that. His chiddush is that if you touch something tummy in the mikveh, we would think you got to go out and come back in. Because mikveh is matar with bia into the mikveh, by coming into the mikveh. Oh. And therefore, if you're nitr in the mikveh, you have to leave and come back in. And that he says no. That separating from the two makes just as good as considered going out. That's aliyah. Aliyah doesn't mean out of the mikveh. Separating. That's his words. The Minchas Yitzchak brings an interesting story. Famous Gemara, famous Halacha. Let's analyze it. It's an incredible way of thinking. Halacha is as follows: a mikveh that has memsa v'chubanis, exactly memsa. Reuven goes in tables and walks out. Shimon goes in table. Done. He doesn't have a mikveh memsa anymore because when you walk out, you take with you water. That's the reality of life. So Yehuda comes along and says, nope. If the feet of this first person are still in the water when you table, so the second guy is still good because we say good achiz, whatever the water was on you, since you're touching the water and some of the water is in, it's all part of the water, and he still has what he saw. What happened as follows? Nothing. Reuven and Shimon both went in together. It's good. That's the shaila. At that time, there's 40 saw. Reuven is still in the water, and Shimon walks out. What's the luck of that? What's the luck of that? It'll come out that it won't be good. According to the Tanakh for sure, everybody, even according to Yehuda, if he walked out. And according to Tanakh, we never find such halacha. Then he goes a step further. A regular person goes into a mikveh that's exactly 40 saw, according to the Tanakh. Once you pick up your head from the mikveh, you're over with, and then you shouldn't be taming yourself. So basically, the issue is their understanding of the Kesef Mishnah. The Kesef Mishnah is saying that as long as the understanding of the Kesef Mishnah, person goes into the mikveh, he's metame, even though he's a zav, and he already put his head into the mikveh and he tabled in the mikveh. Okay, this is their understanding. And then he goes and touches the thing, he'll make it tummy. I think that's, if it's true, it's a pella. I don't know that the Kesef Mishnah means that. But I do want to sidetrack for a minute in the Indian of Tuma and Tahara in general, perhaps get a bit of an understanding here of some point in Tuma and Tahara. There's a very famous Rambam, and I believe we gave a share on this Rambam once, but I'm not going into that area. I just want to focus on this concept. In the end of Hilchos Mikvah, the Rambam uses the following. I'm going to read the words of the Rambam because they're very, very poignant. They say a lot. Davar barur v'golui. It is something clear and revealed to everyone. I guess revealed. Shahatumais v'hatayros tuma and tara gzeiras hakosutain. They are decrees of the pasuk. Then he adds, "Ve'ena b'dvarim shadayt l'shad machras." Not something that we can understand or grasp, or I don't know the right translation of that word, but I think it means it's something that we can really understand the process. It seems to be very redundant. The Xeris HaKosav, so we have questions. Xeris HaKosav, we don't understand Xeris HaKosav. It's a fact. That's what Xeris HaKosav means. And you want to say Chukim there, Chukim. But what's the what do you need that for? That's what Chukim are. Then a second state. Well, if Tumah and Tahara is Chukim, then Tvila is going to be a Chayk. Why does he have to say that? And then he adds a line. This Rambam, to me, is very, very difficult. He's very wordy and seems to be redundant. We'll talk about that soon. But before we get there, I want to introduce a question, a shaila that I've seen in Echreinim. They talk about it, and it's brought down in places. And that is, how do we address Tumah and Tahara? Is Tumah a Metzius? They created a Metzius of Tumah. And Tahara is the absence of that Metzius. Or the other way around. Tahara is the Metzius. Tumah is when there is no Tahara, you're talking. Third is they're both a Metzius. There's a Metzius of Tumah and a Metzius of Tahara. Tumah is a state of being. You get out of it, you become Torah. You're in a state of Tahara. Now let's examine Tefillah according to this. According to the first way, Tefillah takes away Tumah. That's it. You don't do me, you're Torah. According to the second way, no. Tefillah creates a Metzius of Tahara. According to the third, it does both. Removes the Tumah and creates Tahara. So there's an interesting shaila, and I want to present it. And perhaps I've seen others who want to learn a little different, who want to use this in a different way, but I would suggest to use this way. The Brisker Rav brings in the name of the Reb Chaim that what happens the following: a person goes, we know the concept of table the sheretz biyad. Brings the sheretz with his hand, goes into the mikvah. Or a person table, and while he's being he goes into the mikvah and he becomes tamei with a different tool. Not table sheretz. Let's say he became tamei in the mikvah. So do we say that the first tumah went off and the second comes on, the second tumah that he just contracted? Or no, a Torah cannot become Torah as long as he's not Torah. He doesn't create Torah. He has to create Torah to become Torah. Now, Reb Chaim is medayik in the Lashon Rambam and Hilchos Tshuva that we are so knowledgeable of that Rambam. That's where we know about Tumah. That's our first introduction to Matara. The Rambam says that if Kol HaMisvade B'dvar, somebody who is misvade, v'loy gama believe by lav, and he does not resolve to leave the sin, hareza deima letevel, and while he's tevel sheretz biyad. Sheina tefila may elas leachi ashras sheretz till he throws out the sheretz. So he says, if you would say that the first tumah goes off, it's a new tumah that comes on. So it's not a good comparison. So therefore, we have to say that the first tumah did not leave. Did not leave. That's what you have to say. Now, the Ragachava, says that this shaila, whether the tumah is an old tumah or a new tumah, once we tell it in Bavli and Shalmi, Bavli seems to say like also like tefillah, no tefillah at all, and the Rishalmi says ain't like Tahara. So ain't like Tahara means it became tar, but you right away became tar. That's the way. That's what he learns. So perhaps if you say that tefillah creates a tara, so we understand the Bavli and the way the Prime understands it. According to that, you can't create tara if you're not tar. If you're not going to be tar, you can't create a state of tara. You can't create a chalitza, mitzvahs of tara. You say it's only removing tumah. Remove this one, you got another one? Again, I saw those who want to say the other way around. I don't accept that. But I'm not the final arbiter of this, and you can decide for yourself. But we still have a shiloh how to learn. We can learn that second way or the third way. Okay, so I want to go back to this Rambam that we learned just now. The Rambam says, "Dava golu yibor, dava bar golu shatumas v'taras geres hakosei." Why did you say dava bar golu shatumas v'taras v'tfilas geres hakosei? And okay, what do we have to separate them? Then he writes, which we said. What is he adding with this? It's geres hakosei, and it's a chayk. He says afterwards, and it's a chayk. So well, of course, if it's a chayk and it's geres hakosei, we got it. And then, what is this tumah tit say? What is he saying? We're talking about a tumas oil. You can say again the gear, maybe touch something, he got infected. That's what he's kind of. What about tumas oil? He hastened on a tumah. Well, no touching. There's nothing physical there. And then let's assume he separated tefillah from time. What was it? Tefillah. If tumah is exerts hakos, then tefillah is going to be exerts hakos. Could be if we learn like the third way that I'm gonna make it fits like a glove. He starts off exerts hakos, meaning the Torah created a musig of tumah and a musig of Tahara. But that's the point. And that's what he wants to say. Now that we created it, don't think it's logical. Now we have to treat it like a schmutz, as we'll say later. But you ain't going to get it. You don't understand how it works. And that's why he didn't put tefillah together. Because first he wants to focus on knowing it's a metzius. Then he adds v'chenat tefillah. That's a metzius of Tahara. It's a different metzius. Not that it's all exeris hakosim and chayk because you don't understand it. It's a new metzius. Create a metzius of Tahara. That's what he wants to say. It's not a removal like tit and tzoya that you just go into the mikvah and you take it away. It's not only taking away to him, but it's a new metzius of Tahara. So Ibazei, the Rambam believes that there's two parts, two things made in tefillah. There's silikatum, means here's some Tahara. Now, I want to note that in the Rambam we find different expressions when it comes to the Tahara of Mikvah. In Minyan HaMitzvahs he writes, "Lias atara mikol atumas v'tefillah me'mik." That is the clearest explanation of what a mikvah is. But when he comes to Hilchis Mikvahs and the Hakdama, where he writes, and the Protei HaMitzvahs, he writes, "V'hi sheyitbal kol tomid mei mikveh v'achakach itar." Why didn't he stick to the first line that he wrote in Minyan HaMitzvah, which is so clear of what a tumah is? What is this yitbal v'achakach itar? Okay, so the way we're saying could be that's what he's trying to say. Yitbal mikveh, take away the tumah. Tahara, you create Tahara. Now why? What's the game? I'm going to tell you, there could be a menachim halacha. Taisus in Masech Shabbos says, Daf Lamed Hey, on the Gemara that says, want to know what the Shiur of Ben Hashemashos is? He says, look at the on the Carmel, go in and table and come out. And now you'll know the Shiur of Ben Hashemashos. Taisus writes there, Gemara doesn't just give you Misholim like that. I mean, hundreds of Misholim we're going to come up with. That's not Taisus' question. I'm just explaining what I think Taisus says. Taisus is probably kind of tell that this is considered still Tvila. And when you come out, it's considered you're still before Ben Hashemashos, and therefore you can start Erev Shemesh. Sagt dem Yosef Engel there. It's the Kesef Mishnah that Oila Minat Tvila is that's when you become Tahar. Because if not, who cares when you get out? You should start your Erev Shemesh when you went in. So he says this is a rayim of Reshes to the Kesef Mishnah that otherwise would sound like a statement that we don't understand. He uses different words. Zor Nefsheves. Oh, maybe we can go a step further than what we're saying. Yeah, when you go into the mikvah, you're masalig the tum already. But the Tahara is not chal to the yitzia. Where negayat Erev Shemesh? We need you to be Torah. Then you have Erev Shemesh. So it's not. It would be. You don't have to take it to the extreme. You can go to this duality that we spoke about. Okay. I wanted to say that theoretically this is extra, and we could maybe get around this whole number of the questions with some of the other points we're going to say in the Kesef Mishnah. But this will give it a lot more flavor and understanding. Okay, now we have been dealing with a halacha. Somebody touches an that's in the mikveh, and he is out of the mikveh. So the question is, what do we need this for? What's the chiddush? What do we need a pasuk for? Right? Now, I mean, before we get there, I just want to explain. In this case, perhaps, when the person becomes tomei in the mikveh, there is no act of tefillah at all. There's nothing. There's no tefillah when you're tomei in the mikveh. When you become tomei in the mikveh. Not because you need bia b'mayim. There's nothing. I'm in the mikveh. There's no tefillah. It's in the mikveh. So you wouldn't become. You'll become tomei. And so the nevela will become tummy too, and there's no without exeris hakos. With that, we'll see the exeris hakos what we need it. So in such a case, the going out of the mikvah where there's chal the Tahara, that also will take away the tumah b'meila. In other words, if it's chal Tahara, it'll take away the tumah. So it could be this is what the Kesef Mishnah is coming to explain. Now listen close. The Kesef Mishnah is saying that a Zov walks into a mikveh. Now, the one thing we got to add is that he hasn't been table yet. Because he's been table, he's not coming. There's been a silakat the way it was. And he steps on a mishkan, and then he tables. Then the mishkav will become tar when you take it out, but not when it's in the mikvah, because there was no act of tefillah. So the tumah doesn't go away in such a case, except when it's also like tefillah. So now let's go to the many questions. Why do you need to be touching the tameh? Why does the zav need to be touching tameh when he sticks his hand out? So here is another point. For some reason, the assumption is that going out of the mikveh means when you're totally out of the mikveh. Who says that? Going out of the mikveh could mean when your hand is out of the mikveh too. You know the story that is said, and it's a show. I can't remember the name right now of the person, but he was a Chassidish Yid. The guy drove tractors, and he saw somebody table in the mikveh was picking his hand up. You know, he went to table a number of times, so instead of getting out of mikveh, so he said, instead of table v'sheretz b'yada, he said sheretz for table b'yada. But that's good as a Chassidish word, but who says in Halacha that's not called Yitzim in a mikveh? Yeah, well, it is. You can't out of mikveh, you're out of mikveh. You oilef in the mikveh already. That's why you need to be touching the tameh, otherwise you would be tahar already. And what the Teres Kainim needs a pasuk to say that the veil is matames, because of the veil that comes into a mikveh, we would have a minute to say, like the Gemara, the Teres Kainim says, it is not tam. The inyan of mitamet can't be mitamet. It's silukatuma. There isn't Tahara, but it's still a gatuma. So the pasuk tells you no. Then an avela will still remain tamid. And therefore, the question of being matbul kli malei terch piv, same thing. You take the piv out of the mikveh. So so the mayim inside is not matam anymore. It doesn't matter because it lost it's you can say two things. The mayim inside does not have the koyach to matam anymore. As we said, it's a silu katuma. That would be the answer. There's water that's left. That's I can't. Okay, so that's basically the kuda. In some of the cases, this nekuda will be needed. The fact that it's not take away the tumah and you add it'll help. Not in all. Some of them you can get around it, but that would help a lot. Now, why do we say there should be two parts? So that is more. You go into more pnimis the kinyanim. Chinuch explains that Tvila comes from the, we know that we learn a lot about Chassidus, and then bittul. The Chinuch uses the lashon that you should see yourself as a new being when you walk out. And in some of this svarim, I think it's I saw from the name of the Shem Shmuel, he wants to say that in the name of the Abnenezer, that when a person, it's his father, when the Abnenezer said that when a person is in the water, you can't live in the water, right? In the water, we can't live. So when you go into the water, it's as if you gave up your life. When you come out, it's caught the shenaylet. And that's what he explains. That's the Tahara. That's true, but you go into the whole lot. So now we can understand that when you go into the Mayim, first you lose your life. That means you're tough. You lost everything you had before. But you don't become a new person until you can live. And that's when you come out of the water. So just to give it a little flavor. Anyway, Zayd gesund, stark, Hatzlacha Rabba. Be well.